All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into maybe the biggest question of all. Where did everything come from? We're going to follow this really fascinating philosophical rabbit hole to try and find the one thing, the only thing, that could exist without needing a cause. Okay, let's just jump right in. Here's the core mystery. What is the one thing that doesn't need a cause? I mean, something that by its very nature needs no explanation, no creator, no initial push to get it all going. Just think about that for a sec. This is the ultimate starting point we're looking for. So, to even begin to answer that, we've got to tackle a classic philosophical puzzle. It's called the first cause problem. And trust me, thinkers have been wrestling with this for centuries. It's basically the foundation for this entire journey we're about to take. Okay, so what's so cool about this argument is how simple it starts. The first rule is this: just look around you. A tree, a rock, anything that has specific characteristics, a specific form, or is, a certain way, has to have a cause. Something made it that way, right? A tree is a tree because a seed, sunlight, and water caused it to be a tree. It seems super obvious, but this is the critical first step. Hang on to this idea. All right, let's take that basic rule and run with it. If anything with a specific form needs a cause, well, what does that tell us about the nature of something itself? Let's really break down the logic here. The logic here is actually surprisingly straightforward. Step 1, we see that everything around us is a certain way. It's got a form. Step 2, we just agreed on our big rule, being a certain way means it has a cause. So that leads to this really powerful conclusion. The default state of existence, the real beginning, absolutely cannot have a form. And why is that? Well, think about it. If the beginning did have a form, it would need a cause, right? And then it wouldn't be the beginning. It'd just be another link in the chain. So what we're left with is this. The true beginning, the ultimate default state, has to be a state where nothing has been caused yet. It's a totally blank slate. We're talking before the very first event, before the very first choice was ever made. And this whole line of thinking leads us straight to the absolute core idea of this argument, the concept of formlessness. I know, it sounds super abstract, but stick with me, because it's presented as this really elegant solution to the whole first cause puzzle. So what exactly is formlessness? Well, it's defined as a state that is, not a certain way. It has zero specific properties, no boundaries, no characteristics. And because it isn't any one specific thing, it becomes the one and only candidate for something that doesn't need a cause. It just is. No explanation needed. Now, this is a really, really important distinction, so let's be clear. You might be thinking, wait a minute, isn't that just nothingness? But according to this argument, absolutely not. See, nothingness is actually a very specific state. It's the state of there being nothing. And for that specific state to exist, something had to have chosen it over all the other possibilities. Like somethingness, that choice itself would need a cause. Formlessness, on the other hand, that's pure, raw, undifferentiated potential. No choice has been made yet, so no cause is needed. To help us wrap our heads around this, which is, let's be honest, a pretty wild concept, the source gives us a really cool analogy from modern physics. Think about a quantum superposition. Where a particle exists in all of its possible states at the exact same time until it's measured or observed? Well, formlessness is kind of like that. It's this ocean of infinite potential where every single possibility exists at once, but not a single one has been singled out to become our reality. Yet. Okay, I get it. This might sound like some super complex 21st century physics or some way out there philosophy. But what's absolutely incredible is that this exact idea shows up in ancient wisdom traditions from all over the globe. Turns out, this is not a new concept by a long shot. Take Taoism, for example. They have this concept called Wu Qi, and guess what it's described as? A state of undifferentiated, boundless potential. It's the infinite possibility that existed before the universe, even before the classic yin and yang came to be. Sound familiar? And it doesn't stop there. Over in Hinduism, you've got the concept of Nirguna Brahman. This is the idea of the ultimate reality, God essentially, as being completely and totally formless. No attributes, no qualities. It's the divine before it's manifested, just pure being itself, before it takes on any specific characteristics. And then you've got Kabbalism, or Jewish mysticism, with the idea of Ein Sof. This literally translates to without end or limitless. It refers to the aspect of God that is totally unmanifest, infinite, and completely beyond any definition, precisely because it has no boundaries to define it. So you can start to see a really clear pattern emerging here, right? These ancient traditions, they all seem to describe this kind of duality. You have this unmanifest, formless state, the Nirguna Brahman or the Ein Sof, and then you have the manifest state, the one with form and attributes. It's this recurring theme across completely different cultures. Form always seems to emerge from the formless. Okay, so all of this is leading up to the final, and honestly, maybe the most mind-bending part of this whole argument. How does our universe, a universe that is packed with definite form, actually come into being from all this formless potential? I mean, this is the big one, isn't it? If the default state is just this soup of formless, undifferentiated potential, how in the world do we get, well, all this? How do we get trees and stars and you and me? What's the bridge that takes us from pure potential to actual concrete reality? So the first part of the answer this argument gives us is actually what it can't be. It cannot be some kind of automatic mechanical system, like a cosmic machine that just flips a switch and starts churning out universes. And why not? Simple. We're right back at rule number 1. A mechanism, a system of rules, some kind of cosmic program, that is a form. It is a certain way. And because of that, it would need its own cause to exist, which just throws us right back to square one in an endless loop. So a mechanical process, that's off the table. So if it's not a mechanism, what else is there? This is where the argument arrives at its really stunning conclusion. The only way for form to arise from the formless, without breaking our fundamental rule of causality, is through an act that has no prior cause itself, an act of pure, uncaused will, a choice. And that is where we're going to leave it for today. We've gone all the way from a simple rule about trees to ancient mystical traditions and landed on this final, pretty radical idea about creation itself. So the question to leave you with is this. If this argument holds any water, if the universe really began not with a bang, but with a choice, what does that mean about the fundamental nature of reality itself? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.